unordered list. Okay, we have ordered and unordered list. Remove the last two elements. Create an unordered list of 3 things that cats love at the bottom of the page. Create an unordered list. Okay, remove the last 2 paragraphs. So this is the unordered list tag, and why you are not formatting, man? And this is the list item. Cats love to meow. Cats love to drink milk. And what should be the third one? I'd love to play, actually. Alright, what is next? Ordered list. Okay, create an ordered list of top 3 things that cat hate the most. Okay, so this is the ordered list, and what cats hate the most. So I don't want to think a lot of this. I'm a lazy person. So hate 2. This is the programmer language. Hate 1 and hate 2 and hate 3. Okay, run the test. 57%. Create a text field. Create an input element of type text below your list. Okay, we have inputs in HTML. What am I doing, man? And input have an attribute of type. What kind of input we have? So this is a text input. Okay, let's go to next one. Set the placeholder value of the text input to cat. Okay, alright, so something, if we want to show as a placeholder, we can use something. What is this? Yeah, attribute, placeholder attribute, and this should have cat photo URL as a text. Okay, let's go to next one. Then we have forms. Data to the server. You can do this by specifying action element. Okay, you can build web form that actually submit data to a server using nothing more than pure HTML. Alright, so we can make HTTP calls in forms through action attribute. Okay, element into form and assign to the action attribute of the form. Okay, so this is our input, this is a form, this should have an action, and that action should be pointing to this URL. Oops, and this should be enclosed in form tag. Okay, add a submit button to a form. Okay, if we will add a submit type of a button with type submit, clicking this button will send the data from your form to the URL you specified. Okay, here's the example. Alright, add a button as the last element. Add a button as the last element to your form with a type of submit, and the text should be submit. So we have a button and type is called submit, and the text is also submit. So we have to close our button tag. Okay, before running this test, I would like to see something. What kind of you get? Okay, so what we have here is Alright, so this was basically a get request. Okay, okay, yeah, run the test. I was just saying that if the request method is get or post, because they said that this will post the data to the action attribute, the URL that we specified in action attribute. That is why I was checking. Use HTML5 to require a field. Okay, so this is something related with HTML5. We can require fields. You can require specific form fields so that, for example, if you wanted to make a text input field required, you can just, okay, required attribute. Okay, so let's see how it will go. So man, this is a required one. If I will try, okay, so this is basic HTML5 kind of validation. Create a set of radio buttons. Okay, so now we are talking about different inputs. First we talk about a text input, then we talk about a form there where we can submit uh, values, I would say, and now we are talking about different type of inputs. So first of them is, I think, radio buttons. Multiple type of options or type of inputs. Each of the radio button can be nested within its own label. We're wrapping the input element inside of. Okay, so any label that we associate with this will be, if we click on that label, it should also mark checked on radio input. All related radio buttons should have the same name attribute to create a radio button group. Okay, so basically radio buttons are, we have three different things to select. For example, if in a form you are taking input on someone's gender, then that would be male or female, not both, male and female both. So which means that at one time radio button can select one value, and for that purpose we have to specify name. To set a for attribute on the with the value that matches the value of id attribute of input. This allows assistive technology to create a linked related relationship with the label and the related input. Okay, assistive technologies for indoor. Input id type radio, name is this. Okay, add a pair of radio buttons to your form, each nested in its own label. One should have the option of indoor and the other should have the option of, both should share the same name attribute of indoor outdoor to create a radio group. Okay, let's try this. Inside my form, below this input, I will make a label, and this label is for example, indoor, outdoor, because we will have both values. By the way, I am not taking care of formatting from now, so that will take a lot of my time. Indoor, outdoor, and type should be radio button, and name should also be indoor, outdoor. I don't think it will conflict, but this can also. Okay, in its own label. So this label is for only indoor and not the outdoor. So copy this label and outdoor, outdoor, but the name will always remain the same, so that If we click on one radio button and we select another one, then they can switch. Alright, so input should have a value as well. So above is, this one is indoor and this is outdoor. Okay, so that is a little strange for me, because if we don't have, I mean, inputs should, there should be a closing tag as well. But yeah, because there is a label as well, and each time radio button can not uh, serve its purpose without a label. Okay, so that is why maybe there is no closing tag. I got this. All right. Set of checkboxes. So now we have a list of I mean, in a form we have a list where user can select more than one values. For that we use checkboxes. More than one answer, type of input, okay, all related checkbox inputs should have the same name attribute. It is considered best practice to explicitly, yeah, so, and it's okay. For this input type is checkbox, we have label, this is for, okay, and name should be same. Add to your form a set of 3 each with its own label element. All 3 should share the name attribute of. Okay. After this break, let's do this. This is for personality, I think. Learning. And this would be the closing tag, and then we have input type will be check box, ID will be, we will use ID, yeah, because of loving for label type, and yeah, we should also have name, and name should say, for example, personality. Okay. And yeah, this should say loving. All right, and also we will add a break here for sake of display. You see, living, and next one should be label, and this is for, what should it be? As I said, I hate to think about this stuff like this. That is why I will add dummy text here. Input type checkbox, name is equal to and ID should be heading. So I'm not, respecting the orders, but you know what I'm doing here. Heading. Okay, so you can see that what is the difference between radio button. Radio button can have only one value, but checkboxes can have multiple value. Oh, at the same time the personality cannot be loving and hating. So I don't know what to do here. That's all three should share the name attribute. Okay, we need a third one as well. So let me add that label. There should be input. ID should be what we will say. Let's say personality 2, personality 2 here and 3 here. Name should be personality 3. No. Name should be personality. And what was the third one? Type, yeah. Type should be checkbox. And now personality 3. Okay. So now it's looking good. All right. Let's go to here. Checkbox should be given the name attribute of personality. I have misspelled, I think, somewhere. This one have personality, this one have, okay. Use the value attribute with radio buttons and checkboxes. Okay, so now if we have selected radio button or checkbox, some value should be associated with that so that a form can get that value. When a form gets submitted, the data is sent to the server and includes entries for the option selected. Inputs of type report the values from the value attribute. Yeah. So if a user selects indoor, then what will be sent on the server? That is dependent upon value attribute. So we want to send indoor and value. Oh, why I'm doing this? Include the line indoor is this equal. This is form, the name and value attribute of the. If you attribute the submit form data uses the default value, which is on. Okay, this scenario if the user clicks the indoor option. Okay, which is not useful, so the value needs to be do something. Give each of the radio button checkbox inputs the value attribute. Use the input label text lowercase as the value of the attribute. Okay, so here we have outdoor. For this one, value should be loving. Value should be lazy, and value should be energetic. All right, checkboxes, check radio buttons and checkboxes by default. Okay, if we want to select some checkbox by default, then we will use checked attribute. Set the first of your ready buttons and the first of your checkboxes to both be by default. Okay, checked, and this one should be checked. Nest many elements within a single div element. Div elements, also known as div elements, container for, is probably the most common used HTML element of all. Just like any other non-self-closing tag, you can open a div tag with this and close it with another. Okay. Next, your list all within a single value. First, let's do this. Add an element, and okay, now I got this. What was the hint? Okay, this is not something special. Next up is declare the doc type of an HTML document. Okay, this is something important. The challenge so far have covered specific HTML elements and their uses. However, there are a few. Major browsers support the latest specification, which is HTML5. You tell the browser this information by adding doc type, where the part is the version of HTML5. For example, we use okay. Okay, now we have HTML, HTML5. Browser can use both HTML and HTML5. Older browsers can still use HTML. So if our web page is based on HTML5, then our doc type should say that you use doc type HTML. And especially for older browsers, the HTML is not case sensitive. Okay. Next of code needs to be wrapped in HTML. Tag goes directly below the doc type line. Tag of for HTML5. Okay. Under it, add opening and closing HTML tags which wrap around an HTML. Okay, so we want to add a doc type which is HTML, and there is no closing tag for this. So HTML, and this should be H1 tag, which is saying heading H1. I think that is it. Okay, define the head and body of an HTML document. Of an HTML document. Okay. You can add another level of organization in your HTML document with the head and body elements. Any markup with information about your page would go into head tag. Then any markup with the content of. Okay, so head is kind of a metadata, and the content of the page, what displays for a user, would go into the body tag. Metadata elements such as link inside the head tag. Okay, links etc. Head tags, metadata. Okay, added the markup so that there is a head and a body. The head element should only include the title, and the body element should only include the h1 and b tag. Okay, it's already done. So we will wrap this into head tag and this one into body tag. We have to close this before HTML. Alright, so this is 100% complete. What should be next? Let's see. Okay, we'll do this later. Okay, so next course is on basic CSS. We will do in the next